Welcome back, guys, to Minority Reacts. So Piers just went on to Jubilee to have a debate with 20 liberals, and it kind of went on as you would expect it to be.
You spent most of the book with
you
Trump's
read,
cock in your mouth.
If you read sorry?
You spent most of the book with Trump sucking him off.
No, I didn't.
Right, so here are two moments that I found interesting that I wanted to share with you guys. Let's take a look at it.
My next surrounding claim is that woke ideology is anti-liberal and fascistic.
So look, the prompt was about the equivalency between wokeism and fascism. The key difference.
Well, to be clear, the prompt actually, my real point is, if you want to brand everybody fascist, you can't behave like fascists yourself.
But the key difference is fascism uses the power of the state to impose their opinions.
So does the woke left.
Wokeism does not.
Oh, it does.
Was anybody deported for being woke during the Biden administration?
Here's my answer.
Does anybody get rounded up in the streets for their opinion? Did anybody get canceled because the FCC said you're being too woke? No, that doesn't happen.
Can I answer?
Of course.
Of course. Actually, the woke left have deployed the power of the state many times. Look at the pandemic. Look at the pandemic.
How is that wokeism?
I'll tell you how it's wokeism.
Wait, so diseases are woke now?
No. Wokeism is where you take things which are not actually science-based, for example, the efficacy of masks. Right? And by the way, I feel guilty of this myself. I'm not saying I'm whiter than white about this.
So masks are woke?
No, they can be. The woke mentality, I'll explain why. When a government says that if you're seen without a mask during a pandemic, you can be fined or punished.
Piers, you're way too smart to believe this.
Wait a minute. I'm giving you the argument which I ended up accepting, right? Which is in a fast-moving pandemic, when the scientific advice changes so rapidly, I fell victim to this myself. I was very censorious of people. But you can't deny that the state had a mindset of you will conform or we will punish you. And it turned out they were making people...
That's simply not true.
It is true.
You may have felt uncomfortable being unmasked in public because people would say, hey, be courteous of other people.
I didn't.
Nobody got fired.
I didn't.
Nobody lost their job.
Nobody got exiled. People did get fired and did lose their job.
All that stuff got overturned.
What a bold claim to make and say that all of that got overturned, when in first place it got overturned because Trump came in. And let me just tell you, the director of NIH right now, Jay Bhattacharya, that guy, he was cancelled on Twitter. He was cancelled on Twitter for having, skeptical views of COVID. And then when Twitter files came out in 2022, they found that he was being blacklisted because of Biden administration and he even won a lawsuit over it. So to say that the government didn't do it under Biden administration, the left didn't really censor people is totally wrong.
No,
because we are a nation of laws.
People did get fired. They all lost their jobs for not wearing a mask. They were told they couldn't come to work.
Who?
Thousands of people.
Okay, so these nebulous people lost their jobs.
Nick, to be clear, you don't think anybody lost their job in the pandemic for refusing to wear a mask or refusing to be vaccinated?
I think that people who were in public-facing situations where they could have easily taken a scientifically proven preemptive measure.
It wasn't proven.
Yes, it was.
No, it turned out not to be proven. That's my point. And yet the state, driven by a left-wing Democrat president,
so me telling you that you are spreading misinformation, that is not fascism. That is just me telling you you're wrong.
No, you're not telling me I'm wrong because I'm right.
Okay, no, you're just not. And we're not going to relitigate COVID. That's now years ago at this point.
Right. It doesn't matter that people lost their job over it, that the only source of income they had for their family to feed. It doesn't really matter because it's 5 years from now. It doesn't really matter. I would say the same thing if that's the type of argument you're making. Then it doesn't matter what Trump did in his first term, and it wouldn't matter what Trump would do in his second term because it would just be like 5 years away now. In the next 3 years, it's going to become like 5 years of Trump presidency. It shouldn't matter at all what he did under his presidency because, well, it's 5 years behind now. What kind of logic is that?
The key point is it fascism? It is not fascism. You gave your very long definition of liberalism. Wokeism is about everything on that list that you described as being liberal.
Really?
It's about standing up for other perspectives.
You think
it's about listening to other people that have not traditionally been listened to.
Oh, you don't listen to anybody.
Yes,
what are you talking
do.
about? Of course you don't.
You said yourself, wokeism started about just acknowledging social problems. I think it's woke that
originally
middle America's jobs have been shipped overseas. That's woke to recognize that there's larger social problems.
I don't dispute.
Police brutality, recognizing that there's a problem with the institution of policing. That's woke. It's not fascist.
Would you defund the police?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, well, that's woke.
Not defunding the police is woke?
Calling for the police to be defunded is one of the worst things the woke, including Mamdani in New York.
Is like
the new mayor of New York City called for the
Your first prompt was toxic
NYPD
masculinity has
defunded.
always meant one thing. Now you're saying woke used to mean one thing, but now it means a different
Yes.
thing. So words only have one definition when they suit you.
No.
But when they don't suit you, they change and they can fluctuate.
Obviously, you said that wokeism is a form of liberalism, right? You said that.
Yes.
Everything I read.
Wokeism is a form of
and yet, just to
liberalism.
remind
Absolutely.
you, a person who is willing to respect or accept behavior or opinions different from one's own. The woke left famously, I would say infamously, never accept anybody objecting to anything they say.
We
You as a
confront bad
collective-
speech with better speech.
You confront bad speech with better speech. No, you don't.
Like denying the
What-
efficacy of vaccines, and I'm telling you that's wrong.
No,
I'm not saying you should be canceled or you should be imprisoned for that.
Actually, if you want my honest view, I do not think the efficacy of masks was ever proven. In fact, I think most of the evidence now suggests they were pretty pointless. Secondly, on vaccines, I think they saved millions of lives, but I do think it was completely misleading of the government here and the government in the UK and other countries when they stated as a scientific fact that if you had the vaccine, you couldn't transmit the virus.
The measure was whether the healthcare system would be overwhelmed.
Wait a minute.
The healthcare system
I
did not
know.
collapse.
I
It
know.
worked. That was all it was
I'm
supposed to
making the
be. It
point
wasn't that no one would ever get sick
I'm making
ever.
the point that when you issue government mandates and it turns out you were wrong, for example, when they said you cannot transmit the virus if you have the vaccine, it turned out that wasn't true. Do you accept that?
I do accept that.
So there were lots of things they said which turned out to be wrong. So
I would rather err on the side of caution
by the way,
with a disease that killed millions of people around the world. That's just me.
Hey, Nick, as I did, and in fact, I was very censorious to people who took the position I'm now taking
Again, it's
against
not
you.
being censorious.
But I
We're
thought-
having this debate in
No,
a
but-
public forum.
but one
I'm
of-
not saying you're not allowed to speak
No,
about
I'm
this.
not-
Well, so first, you are lying because just a few seconds ago, you yourself said that you confront bad speech with better speech.
say.
We
You as a
confront bad
collective-
speech with better speech.
You're not really defending debate, discussions, or free speech. You're defending your monopoly that counts as better speech in your book. That's not liberalism, that's ideological gatekeeping. And it fits perfectly into the topic that was that woke ideology isn't liberal and is fascistic.
My final surrounding claim is that cancel culture is real and a serious threat to free speech.
Piers standing off against the liberals. This is really something.
Well, I am a liberal.
Your thoughts and beliefs in private, I would assume, more align with ours, but I understand getting.
No.
I understand getting that
No.
bag.
Well,
look,
I don't know your thoughts
I'll
on
save
it.
you the trouble. I'll do it for you.
Okay.
Piers Morgan's new book, "Woke is Dead," is out now. It's great.
Thank you.
I also read it cover to
great.
cover.
Thank you very
I wanted
much.
to take that off your shoulders.
Thank you.
But let's get into it. So I'm just curious, someone who doesn't have any kind of a relationship with accountability, would you agree that everything comes across to them as cancel culture?
I actually liked this conversation more than the previous one because this guy fits perfectly into the woke people we were talking about. He's the prime example of that.
No, I don't believe that speech comes without accountability.
Okay.
But I do believe we had a frenzied atmosphere in the last few years, driven predominantly by the woke left, of cancelling anybody that didn't sign up to their worldview, which I thought was very insidious. I called it out while it was happening. I've called it out since. I've now written a book about it all, saying we cannot go back to that. It doesn't mean the right aren't capable of doing similar stuff and being hypocrites. They are. But it also means that if you look at it in totality, I think this cancel culture mentality has been really damaging. And I think the war on free speech has been really damaging.
Okay, well, let's put this on a spectrum because I think we use this term cancel culture and everybody's been canceled by the left. I don't have any actual evidence of what you're talking about. So let's say accountability is on this side, which is you facing consequences
I'll give an
for
example.
your actions.
Let me give an example.
And on this side of the spectrum,
Let me
it
gi-
is
let me gi-
facing consequences for something that is
Let me
not
give an exa-
justified.
let me give an example.
So now let's start to place
Okay.
it in that spectrum.
Let me give you a
okay?
specific example.
Because the people you carry water for on the right tend to be over here,
I don't
where
carry-
they don't take accountability for
carry
anything
water
and
for-
instead feel like they're being
Wait a minute,
canceled.
wait a minute.
Although it's just
Do you ever watch my
consequences
show?
for your basic actions.
Do you ever watch my show?
I do.
And you really think I carry water for the right?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yes. There's a statistic that you defend Republicans more than anybody else.
No, I don't. I just attack the woke left more than anybody else.
Okay. Correct.
But it's friendly fire. I come at you as one of your own,
Okay.
only I didn't go mad.
I appreciate you admitting
Only
that.
I didn't go mad, right? I didn't
Okay.
go mad, woke, bonkers. I stayed old-fashioned liberal, with liberal values, wanting free speech at the cornerstone of it. And let me give an
Okay,
example.
But Piers, I read your book. That's not the case.
Okay, let me give
you
an-
spent most of the book
if
with
you
Trump's
read,
cock in your mouth.
If you read the, sorry?
You spent most of the book with Trump sucking him off.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. The
No, I
prologue
didn't.
was The Dawn Rises, D-O-N.
The
Dawn.
prologue, actually, if you read it, and I don't think you did, because you
did.
just revealed you probably haven't. The prologue actually starts with 2 conversations I had with him. One positive and one extremely negative.
Yes.
Which ends up with him saying, Piers Morgan's so dead, he's catching flies.
Right.
I'm not sure you've read the book, have you?
I have read the book.
Then you wouldn't say that I bleep.
No, because that was
Have
you
read
meeting
the
him at
prologue?
Mar-a-Lago, trying to win favor back
Not trying to
because
win
he was
favor, doing an
becoming the
interview.
presumptive nominee, so
Doing
you
an
needed to
interview.
get back onto his side.
Yes, but look.
After spending years being a critic of his, then you needed to win
No,
favor back
I've
when
never
he was coming
I've never
into
spent
power.
years as a critic of Trump. I've spent years. I've known Donald Trump nearly 20 years. He's been a politician for the last 10 years of that period. In that time, for example, I used to write columns for the Daily Mail in America. I calculated after his first term in office, I wrote about 120 columns about Trump. You can go and check it.
Okay.
And about half were negative and half were positive. I do think in Trump's first term, if people had been fairer to give him credit where he deserved it and criticized him when he deserved it, everyone would have been a lot better off. I feel it now. The Trump derangement syndrome is a real thing, and it's
I
honestly...
wear that badge proudly.
I know, but it's kind of pathetic.
He says that he wears that badge proudly, but I don't know if he really understands what that means. When someone says that, when people make fun of other people, or liberals usually, when people say, well, you got Trump derangement syndrome. No one's really saying that you're actually sick. What people are saying is that no matter what Trump does, you are going to hate him or not like the thing that he does. For example, if someone hates me for being brown, I can't really do anything about that. I can be the best singer in the world, I can be the best, anything in the world, but you might just hate me for the thing that I am. I think the debate kind of ends there. I don't think this guy's words really hold any credibility after saying this.
It's kind of pathetic. It's like when I hear people say, he's the new Hitler. Really? Hitler murdered 12 million people, including 6 million Jews in the Holocaust. You
Okay.
think Donald Trump is the new Hitler? You're a fucking idiot.
Okay,
Right?
if we're going to
there
talk
are-
about hyperbole, here we have focused half of the discussion today on trans issues, but we're not going to talk about things like, Trump is in the Epstein files and he's using the government to cover it up. Should we talk about that?
Sure.
That affects a lot of people.
Let's talk about
How
that.
about him denying the
Let's talk
2020
about that.
election and eroding the
What do you
public's
want-
trust
what do
in
you
our
wanna say?
institutions and
What do you want-
processes?
ask me.
That affects everybody.
Okay.
So let's try not deflecting to the trans athletes conversation.
You've just brought up 2 more issues. I'm happy to talk about
We'll
them.
see if you deflect. Go on.
Well, go on. You want to ask me about them? Go on.
Okay, well, I'm saying let's focus on the issues that affect lots of people, not deflect into
Actually,
the
trans
culture
athletes
war
is sport, but-
issues that affect very few people in the grand scheme of
Well, let's be clear. The number of people directly affected by the Epstein scandal is probably 2,000.
what the president of the United States covering up a pedophilia scandal affects everybody.
If that's what he's doing. Well,
Common sense. You're a champion of common sense.
Well, I can tell you that I've spoken to Virginia Giuffre's lawyer multiple times, David Boyes. He's seen the files. He does not believe there's anything against Trump in those files. Well, okay.
Oh, what happened to common sense,
Okay.
Piers?
Well, actually, I prefer to stick to facts.
Even the last part of the conversation went exactly as you would expect it to be. The guy didn't listen anything, just kept making arguments, kept deflecting from one point to another. When Piers confronted him and said, well, I'm not really trying to get a favor from Trump, I'm just critiquing him when he's wrong, and I'm not critiquing him or praising him when he's right. The guy don't understand that, keeps making the same argument. Oh, you just like Trump, you're probably a Republican. I don't really understand how this debate works, but if you like my breakdown of this debate and would want to watch more of it, then like this video and subscribe this channel for more videos like this. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, take care everyone, and bye-bye.